Welcome back to another kind of funny reaction, this time to Loki, episode 2, the variant on Disney Plus. As always, I'm Tim Gettys, joined by the big dog, Kevin Coelho.
Yo, man, this show is bold. It's making decisions. I'm all about it.
And of course, we have the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Pretty damn good show. I think it's bold. They're making decisions. I'm all about it.
And of course, the producer slash seducer, Nick Scarpino.
I was hoping Andy would do his Highlander impression on that way. There you go. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that.
Of course, this is Kind of Funny Reactions, where each and every week we react and review all the latest movie and TV shows. It's very exciting stuff, and you can get it on youtube.com/kindoffunny or roosterteeth.com. If you want to listen to it, go to your favorite podcast service and search for Kind of Funny Reactions, and we'll be right there for you. If you want to get the show ad-free, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny, and that will be an option for you. But let's just get into it. Episode 2. Undeniably, this is the MCU show episode that I need to rewatch the most. Now, there was a lot that went on. I'm confused about a couple elements that I'm excited to talk to you guys about. I think that Holding Out for a Hero, as much as I love it dearly in my heart, we need to give it a little time out for a bit. It's kind of being overused. It's a song that I feel anytime it's used I should walk away saying that was an inspired choice. And in this, less inspired than I would have liked. I will say that. But otherwise, really, really loved this. Love what it's doing. And Kevin saying that it's bold. My God, the way this episode ends, I'm like, okay, cool. They're going there quickly, a lot quicker than I expected. And I like how this feels in direct contradiction. Not that it's better than, but in contradiction to WandaVision, where WandaVision had this kind of one thin mystery the entire time that kind of was just intriguing because we didn't know what's going on. I like in this one, they tell us everything that's going on, but then kind of tweak with it as we go, and they make some pretty big ass moves that really shake things up. And I can't wait for episode 3. So, where you at, Nick?
I like it. I like it a lot. I really did. I was with you. I thought there was gonna be more of a mystery, and then going into this, they're like, nope, we're gonna show you who and what the Loki variant is, and you're still gonna have some questions on that, but then we're gonna basically splinter the timeline accordingly, and the show is going to be about them sort of dealing with that and stopping that. And I think it's cool. I still think the strength of the show is really Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson, having that banter back and forth, and they got great chemistry. And I think that, I'm excited for the next episode. I want to see what the fallout of this is.
Andy?
Yeah, man, great episode. This is one of my favorite episodes that I've watched of any of these MCU episodes. I put it up there. The intrigue, the mystery, I think the way that it's all sort of paced. I'd say my only criticism, and it's not even really a criticism, it's more of just that I feel like Tom Hiddleston acting as Loki, we saw him acting in ways that we've never seen Loki really portrayed on screen before. And I think
He's
maybe
getting
that's
a little loose.
I think it's possibly because
loose.
we just have more time with him. But honestly, I kind of like it. I feel like he's doing what he wants to with this character, and it felt a lot. It felt just very buddy cop in this movie, in a purposeful way. But goddamn, I loved all. There's so many good back and forths between he and Owen Wilson. I'm enjoying the show for them alone, and then to add on this really awesome mystery and just crazy consequences. Super badass show. Really digging it.
Yeah, I feel like the episode started and I was, oh shit, hold on, my sync's off.
Sync is off, everybody.
Yeah, my
sync.
headphones. Right. So the episode started and I felt like, all right, I have all these ideas and theories, and Lady Loki was definitely one of them. And I was kind of talking with my younger brother, when are we gonna see the reveal of who it is? And it's one of those things where it's I really hope it's not like WandaVision where they hold it to the end and it's kind of not, and they're kind of messing with us on what it is. And the end of this episode very much felt like the opposite of that, where it was oh, hey, we're not going to be messing around. Here it is. The answer is here. Also, there's so many little things where you're watching and you're like, oh, are they setting up Kang the Conqueror? And there's so many things. It's just so good. I love everything about this show.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. I do have a question for you guys though, regarding the end. When Lady Loki is dropping all the time reset things into a bunch of timelines, right?
Mhm.
Like, and we're
Yeah.
seeing it's causing a bunch of timeline branches and stuff. Awesome, epic. I just don't really understand what's going on. Like, what do you guys think the reset bombs are doing? Because wouldn't they just reset timelines to being where they should be?
My
No.
initial thought was, are all of these bombs going back to the TVA? Is she sending them back to the TVA to kind of teleport them back and almost like an act of terrorism on the TVA? And then when I saw all the timelines branching off, I was like, oh shit, I'm confused. I thought the whole point was to get back to the TVA to really fuck with them. I'm in for this mystery as much as you are, Tim. I really don't know what the consequences are going to be and where she's actually sending them.
I think that she sent them randomly through time, or not. Maybe not randomly. Maybe at like key events.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I think those bombs go off and like disintegrate everything around them, and then like the universe kind of fills it back in. But if you use that where you're not supposed to, like when there's a variant that caused an
Didn't we
issue,
see? We saw it be used though in the
yeah,
earlier in this episode where
with
it went and it kind of like made some things disappear.
Yeah, we've seen it
yeah,
twice now. So we've seen it used a bunch of times actually. And what it does is it just takes anything that's not supposed to be in that timeline, like out of that timeline, and like resets
but
that,
I
like the area where the variant could have occurred.
yeah, but I think if they do that with things that are not like if they just do it somewhere where it's like there isn't anything, I think it fucks up the timeline. Like
Yeah,
it could
interesting.
still
I mean,
go
they didn't
somewhere.
set that up at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but like
it's a little confusing, but I think it's a bit of a leap of logic. But the way I thought about it was like Lady Loki would take them and put them, like, for instance, in Pompeii, where you'd go and you'd reset that event so that never happened, or something like that. Now I know the MacGuffin, the things themselves don't work that way, but you have to imagine they could be reprogrammed to do anything that you want them to do.
Yeah,
As far as
that's my
that's
big
yeah,
concerned,
I mean
that's kind of how I just kind of leaped in logic did. I was like, well, it's a machine that's highly advanced and Lady Loki's smart, so whatever, done.
yeah,
Yeah, I was looking into it. There's like a whole bunch of timelines that they show where all the bombs are going, and they include a couple places we've seen. Like Vormir is one of them, Sakaar is one of them, Ego himself is one.
Oh shit, that's
Uh,
amazing.
on Titan, New York, Tokyo, and then a whole bunch of other places that haven't been in the MCU yet, like Madrid and Cookville, USA, things like that. So, and across that, it's not just a place, but there's also like times that people have written down, like 1999 or 1390 or 2005. So it's like obviously we're going to see more of that. I love that even we saw Pompeii in this, but it's cool that we're here. We're now a third through the show, so it does kind of go by quickly. But I love that we have 4 episodes to kind of address that stuff, because with everything the first episode set up of like, here's the rules and here's this little cartoon with the sacred timeline, already it's like, okay, cool. So someone's definitely lying and there's some shit going on, and now we have buddy cops Owen Wilson and Loki, who are just fucking fantastic.
It's
Like,
great.
I don't
God
think we
damn.
can say enough about the banter they have. Like the talk about the jet ski, you bet your goddamn asses, guys, the jet
Yes.
skis.
Like,
they're
Owen
awesome.
Wilson will be on a jet ski by the end of this show, and I can't wait.
And
That's
it's
my
just-
Mephisto for this one, Kev, is the jet ski coming back.
That's the thing that we're all hoping for. I think like throughout all of it, even if I am not understanding where the plot is going, again, we're only on episode 2, so it's mysterious for a reason, I think. But even though we're all kind of like, damn, I wonder what this is actually happening and where is it actually going, I would love the show if only for their back and forths and them hanging out and getting to know each other. And the line from the trailer, we had the moment where the line from the trailer was better in the show, where we saw like, yeah, but I would never stab somebody in the back again, you know? And
Yeah.
like, I loved that scene of him being like, I've studied your whole life. You've done it about 48 times.
Yeah.
like, it's so good. And it just feels so earnest. And of course, we probably won't see Mobius in the future of the MCU, or I don't know, maybe we will. But
Yeah.
I just love Owen Wilson in this role. I think he's just nailing it, and it just seems like he's having a fun time being there as well.
Well, that's the thing. Owen Wilson is, I mean, he doesn't do TV. So that's, I mean, I'm sure he has in the past, but for the most part, every touchstone I have for Owen Wilson is a movie. He's a movie
Yeah.
star. So he could be a Paul Rudd style character going forward, and I would love that. Now, conversely, like if this is the last time he does it, I think knock it out of the park. Give him the Emmy right now, or give him the Grammy right now. But yeah, I'm right.
Give Owen Wilson a Grammy, you cowards.
Give him the Grammy.
This show is brought to you by Faraday Brand. Can it be? It's finally summer, and we're actually going to have a real summer this year. So naturally, we started thinking about looking good after a year and some change, because we're going places. This summer is what Kinda Funny is calling Hot Boy Summer. You saw my jean jacket, you see the haircut, we're doing it big this summer. And that's where Faraday comes in, to make the perfect clothes for summer. Faraday is a family-run brand making high-quality, timeless clothing with modern design and functionality. When you're searching for that ideal summer outfit, that set, that shirt, that dress that feels like you've had them for years. Maybe it's in a gorgeous print and it fits so perfectly that it feels almost too good to be vintage, but still looks like it might be. Well, that's Faraday. Tim Gettys is the most stylish person I know, and even he loves Faraday brand clothing. And they're so confident in the quality of their stuff, they have a lifetime guarantee of quality. They'll replace or fix your clothes forever, no matter what. And to top it all off, Faraday is giving all our listeners 20% off. That's 20% off. So stock up on all your clothes for the summer now. Head to FaradayBrand.com and use code MORNING at checkout to snag 20% off all your summer gear. That's code MORNING at Faraday, FAHERTY, brand.com for 20% off. We're also brought to you by Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. It's time to join the resistance, because Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PlayStation 5 is here. The shadowy Shinra Corporation is draining the planet's life force for their own gain, but all is not lost. The mercenary Cloud Strife teams up with Tifa, Barrett, and Aerith to take Shinra down. Whether they succeed depends on you. We are so excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. This definitive edition of the award-winning Final Fantasy VII Remake has expanded graphical, gameplay, and system enhancements, and it brings Final Fantasy's visuals to a new level. It's got more realistic backgrounds, it's got better lighting, it's all around beautiful to look at. Intergrade also gives you the ability to switch between graphics mode if you want 4K, and performance mode if you prefer super smooth action with 60 frames per second. On top of it, Intergrade even comes with episode Intermission, a brand spanking new episode featuring Wu-Tai Ninja Yuffie as the main character. Play as Yuffie as she conspires with Avalanche HQ to steal the ultimate materia from the Shinra Electric Power Company. Play as new characters and enjoy an expanded gameplay experience featuring multiple new combat additions. And if you've already bought Final Fantasy VII Remake for PS4, you can download a free enhancement for the PS5 console. Episode Intermission is available as a separate purchase after you upgrade. Buy Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for PlayStation 5 today. Go to squex.link/remakekfms. That is SQEX.link/remake KFMS.
Why did I say Grammy? I meant Golden Globe, but Grammy came out, so let's give him a Grammy for some music. Wow.
There was that line where they were like, Loki's telling him and everybody about what the different powers do, and then Owen Wilson, he's trying to explain to Owen Wilson something, and Owen Wilson asked, "How?" And I just thought of wow.
Yeah, I mean, I just to throw one more thing in there. I really like I think the show itself, like action wise, is fine. It is what it is, and I still think a lot of the side characters just are, by nature of now that we're halfway through, they're just going to be underdeveloped and not very interesting. But what I love is them sitting there talking about having this like theoretical debate of determinism versus like fate, right? And that it's so cool to have him be like, well, wait, did the fact that they introduced, or maybe they had introduced before, but this is the first time I caught on to the fact that maybe the timekeepers, is that what they're called, right?
Yeah.
Made everyone that's in the TVA is weird.
Yeah.
That's a weird concept. And he's like, who cares? Like, who made you? Like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to understand it exactly. I just accept it. And like, it's pretty cool.
They had like a religious conversation. I mean, it was Norse religion, but it was like, and who's your dad? Oh, yeah, Laufey.
Yeah.
Okay, but who were you raised by? And it's like, that's kind of like weird, right? Like they were kind of, it's interesting that they dove into that way, like, because it's such a obscure, random thing, and you don't expect Marvel to be like, hey, let's have a conversation about how odd religion is. And sometimes you just go with it, And that's Owen Wilson's thing of like, it doesn't matter. Like, I believe in it, and that makes it real to me. And that's like a really, really deep conversation that they're just like touching on, and it's just bold
After
as
it's
fuck.
after a
right?
conversation
Yeah.
about jet skis.
Right.
Yeah.
But and that's what I really like about these Marvel shows is that they have the opportunity to have those like theoretical conversations that you would have with your friend at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're talking about Marvel movies and you're a little drunk, right? You're like, wait, but I don't understand who made, and it's just it's cool. It didn't necessarily need to play into the bigger plot, but I like that they took that moment to talk about it, because these are the questions that I have too. When you start screwing around with time travel, you're like, does any of this really matter? Like, is any of this, is it all predetermined? And are any of the actors like or characters' actions really matter? And they have that conversations where he's like, don't think about that. Just, you got to go with it. We're here to do what we have to do, and this is our job. And whether or not it matters is kind of irrelevant. And I mean, he put it a lot more eloquently. I'm kind of making it sound negative, but I thought that was a cool scene. And I just like the backgrounds and all that stuff.
I loved
they used
all
for it.
of the different ways that Earth meets its doom. All of the many climate related reasons why it's tsunamis, it's tidal waves, it's hurricanes, it's everything you could possibly think of. Them just looking through all the different timelines, like, yeah, 2052 this happened, and 2048 this happened. So good, so great.
Yeah, I'm really, really enjoying how these shows, and I mean, so far these shows are all we have of Phase 4, but it seems like Phase 4 very much is about identity. Like all of these shows are dealing with identity in a different way. Like Scarlet Witch dealing with grief and becoming the Scarlet Witch, right? And then we have obviously Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, what's it mean to be a Black Captain America? But you are now just the Captain America. And then now with this, it's like they're dealing with identity in an even crazier way of like, okay, let's dissect this villain, but then let's also like really, really get existential and start asking like, why are we here and stuff. And
well, not only that, but they have like the ramifications of realizing that there's just multiple yous out there. There's just a bunch of Lokis running around causing havoc, and then he's got that weird like moment where he has insecurity, where he's like, I'm the superior Loki. And she's like, no, you're not. You're definitely not. Like, I'm running this game, and you're not. You're way behind.
And it's even cooler because she has that moment where she's like, I thought maybe they found a better Loki. That was dumb of me,
Yeah.
And like, that's such a cool little back and forth that they have.
I'm really, really interested in the rules. I always am. The rules that these movies kind of set up. And the MCU, I think, does a good job. I always talk about how like the fact that mainstream people cheer about Mjolnir because they understand the rules of Mjolnir because they were set up in other movies. So when Cap gets it, it's a big deal. And I feel like these shows are really doing a good job of taking that so much further. Like obviously multiverse stuff, but this episode in particular, really diving into the variants. Really, really trying to set that foundation so people understand what a variant is. But on top of that, like
it could look many different ways. Yeah, good.
Exactly.
Kind of prepping us for that reveal.
But WandaVision, kind of building the idea of chaos magic, which is taking the magic we learned about in Doctor Strange, but adding a whole new element to it and all that. And then with this, Loki, even just being so obviously educated on the different types of his own like mischief magic and explaining the difference between, I wrote down the duplication casting and illusion projection. Like I love getting into that. And I also love seeing this lady Loki essentially being way more badass than Loki because she kind of has Loki's powers from Avengers, but without the Mind Stone. Like being able to kind of just take over somebody and like control them. And I'm like, or at least a form of that, which is like really, really interesting.
They're also similar to Scarlet Witch, right? When we first are introduced, she like touches someone and we see the green eyes. And it's like very similar to Scarlet Witch. But I guess Scarlet Witch powers did come from the
Mind Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
So, okay, that makes
sense. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the show is great. I love that it's so funny because this episode 2 felt so slow, but so well paced that it's almost in contradiction to itself where a lot happens, but so much of it is just the two of them talking or two people talking, like different variations. The one woman, Renetta or something like that is her name. Starts with an R.
The judge or whatever it is.
The judge. I'm super interested in her. Like her just kind of being in the show as much as she has been these first 2 episodes. I'm like, there's something shady going on. She's protecting something, but does she even know she's protecting it? Like, are these people like going to break? Is it kind of like WandaVision where they are under the control of this thing, but the control of the thing isn't magic? It's just almost like a religion. They just believe it because it's all they know.
So
it's very interesting. I think that the only criticism I have of the show though is that because they're going by at such a fast clip, I don't think they have time to develop a lot of those side characters, which I'm actually interested in. I'd like to know what's going. I'd like to see a little bit more of like the security teams and how they function. And like, I wish those characters felt a little bit more real to me. And same with that judge character, where we get a little bit more of the back and forth, which really kind of serves to help flesh out Owen Wilson's character too. But we get just enough in this episode for me to stay interested. But I wish we had a little bit more time to see some of the inner workings of the TVA.
Does did Owen Wilson kind of have a hint at what the timekeepers are? I feel like he wasn't super speculative about what they are and what they're doing until, like, was it Loki that kind of gave him this idea about the so I feel like from then on, then when he went in there, he's a little bit more inquisitive about them, and I feel like he's a little bit more in doubt about what their true motivations are and who they actually are.
I think it's pretty clear he's never met them, right?
Right.
And I think now he's starting to have questions about him. And the character of Ravonna in the comics is Kang the Conqueror's wife. Kang the Conqueror is confirmed to be the bad guy in Ant-Man and whatever that one's called. Also, do you guys know what Kang looks like?
No, I'm assuming like a kangaroo, Kevin.
Very close.
He looks like a purple kangaroo.
Let me see.
One of the timekeepers.
Yeah.
He looks like one of the timekeepers.
I don't know why I was thinking Kroll.
He looks like one of the timekeepers, and like specifically the one she's always sitting in front of. I mean, obviously he's got a vision little thing there, but like it just interesting that they're setting it up that she's like the only person that talks to the timekeepers. So I wonder if they're starting to set up Kang the Conqueror, and like how cool is that if that's the case?
I mean, the thing is, he was cast way too early for it being in just Ant-Man, so I wouldn't be surprised if that does tie in somehow. It's the guy from Last Black Men in San Francisco, which is really cool, and also Lovecraft Manor, Jonathan Majors.
That's right. I mean, I don't want to get excited. I don't want to even kind of pretend that, like, I hope that they introduce him as a character. Like, I'm fine to wait to the next Ant-Man movie. But this is really interesting. That, like, the idea, like, that they're building this whole structure that they could be lying about so that they can introduce this character. Like, that seems
I think
really,
I think it's super cool. And we talked about it at first too when they first introduced this stuff, but it's so hard for me to wrap my head around something being more of a threat than Thanos. But the idea of threatening time itself and being able to control that and being able to have people who don't even know they're being controlled because you sit at just a higher level, you're playing a higher level of chess than they are, is super cool and super kind of twisted. And if that's, I think that we know that now that's kind of the next phase of Marvel, and I think they're going to have a lot of fun playing in that.
Also,
Tim, you were talking about the rules, by the way, Tim, and we do know the rules of the time travel in this. We know it's not Back to the Future rules.
We know that.
We know that. Definitively not.
Definitely,
Andy, what's
Who do
up?
you think? Do you think that the character that she is kind of dating with gets revealed? Do you think that's an actual plot point, or is that just sort of characterization for Owen? Because Owen Wilson keeps on saying like, "Oh, your favorite."
The other agent, or
whatever.
You're
the other agent, huh? Like he keeps on kind of referencing this other guy, and
that's why one of the reasons I want to rewatch this is there was a couple things that I don't really understand the tone of, because to me that read as he was flirting with her and it wasn't an actual other agent. It's the same way I fuck with Gia and I'm just like, oh, that must have been your other boyfriend, like just
right.
Oh, really?
That's how I read that too. Where he was just trying to be a little catty and a little flirty with her. Yeah.
I thought like, oh, there's gonna be another rogue agent that might plan all this, but yeah, that
there's another Owen Wilson. That'd be awesome. There's just two Owen Wilsons.
It's just Luke. It's just Luke Wilson.
That would be amazing.
Oh, Luke Wilson is Mephisto confirmed. Well, everybody, this has been our reaction to Season 1, Episode 2 of Loki on Disney+. We will be back next week with Episode 3, I think with Greg Miller for the first time. Now he will be back from E3, so that is exciting. Let us know in the comments below what you think about this, what crazy theories you have, and who you want to see Luke Wilson play in the MCU. Maybe just a variant of Mobius. Could they have variants if they're from the TVA? I don't know how that works, but we'll have to figure it out. Anyways, till next time, I love you.